for boring. Where you can feast with the nectar of the gods. You'll always have a seat at Norse Hall.
Welcome everybody to Top Dog Coverage, where you get some of the best news, notes, action, basically anything football. If we're really gonna just throw it out there, But
All
if
ball.
you are not, all ball. If you're not following us, follow us at Top Dog Coverage on YouTube, on X, Twitter for the real people, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Stay connected with us. We are on Linktree. We have everything rocking and rolling. C-Dub, how you feeling today?
Feeling great, man. I'm pretty excited to get into this episode.
Yeah, this is
a good one.
Yeah, this has been something that people have been asking us for. So
I think it's also very near and dear to our hearts. And what kind of helped drive this whole Top Dog coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that we've entered this a while ago. We won a lot of money actually that helped us put Top Dog coverage together. So so now we are out and about and ready to kind of put this together. And so what we are discussing today is Fantasy Football 101, basically. So fantasy football for dummies, however you guys want to put it. If you
fantasy
are
football for noobs.
Yeah, if you guys are looking to get into a fantasy football league this year and you are just like, you know what, I finally want to get into it. I finally just want to jump into it. I don't know what I'm doing. This is the episode right here for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it can be kind of a lot. There's so many different types of leagues out there. I'm sure people have been harassing folks for years. Hey, join this fantasy league. Hey, I need this many more spots. Do you want to play? So there's a lot that goes into it. We want to kind of help minimize the anxieties that come with it and kind of help educate a little bit so that way you can take the lead, because it can be a lot of fun if done correctly.
Yeah. And you know what? It is made to be fun. That's the whole point of it. Like, instead of watching the game with your significant other or watching the game even though you love sports but you don't understand the game, this actually helps you understand the game a little bit more too. Like, you'll understand why, I get it all the time, why a team will keep the ball, why they will kick it, why they will do this. So you'll start to understand the game a little bit more, and it's all because of fantasy football. It has so many branches, so many levels, and so many vessels in the game of football. It's absolutely amazing. So we are going to start with a little bit of, oh man, C-Dub is playing peekaboo today, but have no fear, okay? He will be back. He is frozen. That is okay. But he's a good-looking fella. So it's hard to be mad when you have a frozen face of C-Dub, But we said that we would put this episode together for you guys and girls that want to join. There has been a lot of people requesting this. So we are going to give it a moment or two to have C-Dub kind of kick back in. He got kicked off. So we're going to slowly but surely ease you guys into this. We're not going to give you a crazy amount of stuff or anything like that to, so you're overload with any information or anything like that. So we're going to make sure that we properly introduce you to it. That way you guys can have some fun with it. There he is. Came back to us.
I had little technical difficulties there. I apologize.
That's it. That happens.
Unfortunately, more often than I'd like it to. So
it's all right. So with that being said, let's get us some fantasy, baby. Woohoo! All
Fantasy
right.
foosball.
So, C Dub, tell me a little bit about what were some of the first things that you learned when you first went into fantasy football? Like, do you remember? I remember a couple things of mine. Do you remember anything like the first time you went in or anything like that?
Man, it was a while ago, but I just remember at that time running backs were worth their weight in gold, which sometimes, I mean, nowadays they still kind of are, but
Mm-hmm.
back then there was just so many more workhorses, right? And then teams were focused so much more on running the ball, and you had guys that would get 30, 35 carries a game,
Yeah.
right? So I there wasn't quarterbacks weren't as big as they are nowadays. I felt like, there's a handful that if you got, you'd be happy with, but you weren't using them to like kind of drive the main focus for your team. But yeah, I just remember how dominant running backs used to be.
I remember when I first entered my very first fantasy football. Like I loved watching ball, but never joined a fantasy football team. And somebody had mentioned it to me. You're like, dude, you're really into football. How you should join this fantasy football league. And I didn't know. I heard about it, right?
Yeah.
So I join, and I have the number 1 overall pick. Right? Had no idea. Didn't
Yeah.
know it. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. I drafted Tom Brady first overall. I didn't know that you were supposed to be drafting like running backs and
Yeah.
wide receivers. Apparently, you're not supposed to be drafting quarterbacks. In a one quarterback league, which is we'll get into what a one quarterback league is and such. But I didn't know any of that, so I got laughed at. But then the first game, Tom Brady threw 502 yards.
Was that his record breaking season, the
Yeah,
07?
I believe so. Yeah, a long time ago, man, long time ago. But
Yeah.
um, just it was one of those things where everybody else was picking Adrian Peterson, and I'm just like, oh. So this in the second year I came in, I was like, okay, I understand a little bit more the second year, but it gets more fun as you progress and as you learn and as you go. So
Yeah. I think just one thing that has kind of always stuck with me ever since the beginning is don't draft guys that you don't really like. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some guys that are really good, that like cool, but if you don't enjoy watching the player, don't have them on your fantasy team.
So this is the thing too. One other mistake that I made and it was that same year, right? Nobody really taught me, and it was my own fault too. Like I didn't really look into it. I was just jumping in, kind of like, hey, whatever.
Yeah,
I was drafting players that I thought were going to win.
like win
So,
the game.
yes, yes,
Okay, so not like
yes,
necessarily help you win. You just thought
Mm-mm.
drafted guys that you thought were gonna win NFL games.
Yeah.
Okay,
And week 1, let me tell you, damn near every single one of them won.
how many points did that get you?
I don't remember, but I know I lost. Because it is, if you're watching this collectively, it is how much that individual player and how much the other individual player and how much the other individual, their collective points get you at the end of the day. And we're going to go over that for you guys so that you can understand the point system, how much each player, the points can get, and all this other stuff. So
Yeah, kind of just some basics to know and
yeah,
be able to help
yeah.
you be competitive in your first year or second year or whatever year you're in.
But we promise you, it is a fun time. Maybe start off with a family. You know what I mean? That your brother, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your grandfather, whatever. Start it small, okay? And with people that you love. That way it's good, it's fun, and you guys have fun watching the game. Gives you a good reason to watch it. So, Whisk, Where would you like to start with this? Do you have any idea? I just want to pick your brain for a second. If not, I have a direction. No big deal. But do you have any idea of which direction you want to go?
Start with the basics.
Okay.
What is how do I choose which type of league that I want to be in?
Okay. So mainly you have to understand, right? And there's now what kind of, when we say league, what are we talking about? The per teams or
Yeah, like so I load up ESPN.
Hmm?
I look at all their fantasy football stuff, and there's a bunch of different types of leagues to join. One says PPR, one says half PPR, one says standard. How do I know
Yeah.
which one to click on? There's also a different number of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do I choose what the right number of teams is? How do I choose which type of league?
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so if you guys are starting off and you want to join a fantasy football league, my recommendation, and maybe it's the same for Whisk, but my recommendation is pick a league that is an 8-team league or a 10-team league. Try to stay in that realm. There are 8, 10, 12, 14. I've heard of 16, but just remember this. The lower the number, the more chance you have of better players. The higher the number, you're really going to have a harder time understanding, and you might not have as much fun if you're not competitive. Okay, so try to keep it to, I would say, an 8 to 10 team league starting in the beginning. You'll have a lot of fun doing it. It's simple. You'll have more than enough choices for people to pick.
Yeah, and I think also starting out, if you want to be in a league where there's people that you know, it's a lot easier to find 7 or 9 other people to join that league with you rather than just having to find 11 or 15 other people to
Yeah.
do it, right? Especially if you're trying to create your own league. But you can always just join a random online league as well. You might not know those people or anything, but at least still give you a chance to have some fun, learn the game, kind of compete a little bit, whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely recommend with starting out 8 to 10. It just keeps it easy for you.
Mm-hmm. And when C Dub says, when he talks about PPR, half PPR, standard, like what is that? It's so easy. It's so easy to get confused by these things. No worries, we're going to break this down for you right now. So a PPR, let's start with standard. Standard is basically, hey, if your player catches the ball or runs the ball for, let's just say, 10 yards, right? There's a good chance they're going to get probably a point based on the point system, and we will take you to the point system after we explain these things so you guys understand the point system. So when your player gets those 10 yards, they'll probably be rewarded with a point next to their name, okay? Now, that is a standard. That's a standard league, right? It's just giving you basic points for the basic yardage that they're getting in the real game, okay? Now, if you have a half PPR league, if he catches the ball, now you're gonna get 0.5.
Half a point.
Just for catching the ball. And then if you get those extra 10 yards, now you have a point and a half, 1.5. And that's just based off of, maybe one play could take 3 times, 2 times to get 10 yards. Doesn't. And then, so that would be your half PPR. Half a point just for catching a ball and then getting those 10 yards. And then you have your PPR, which is point per reception. So catches the ball, that's 1 point. 10 yards, that's 2 points altogether because you got those 10 yards. So 10 yards, 1 point, catching the ball, another point, that's 2 points right there. So you have your standard, just the basic yardage, your standard yards, your half PPR, which is your half points per reception. So you get a half a point, 0.5, and then your yardage. And then you get your PPR, which is your point per catch, point per reception. He catches the ball, you get your point, and then your yards. So those are the three basic that is going to be very simple on what you guys would like to go into. So it's, if you don't want to deal with all the PPR stuff, hey, I just want to do basic, by all means. It is a little bit more fun, though. We will say this. It is a little bit more fun rocking with some PPR.
Yeah, I mean, I think those three are the main universal type of leagues, especially in terms of scoring systems. But obviously, the more if you go to a half PPR to a PPR league, there's going to be higher scoring, and there might be certain players that increase their value because they're more likely to catch passes in a certain offense or something along those lines. So, yeah, I mean, it just depends on what's your flavor. Do you want to prioritize catching passes? Do you want to just go with standard regular scoring? I mean, it kind of depends on you as the individual.
Right. And so everybody kind of has an idea of what it would look like. Okay, so we'll go into the little.
And you're talking about scoring settings?
Yeah. So we can go in there. So every league is going to have exactly every league is going to have a certain setting to the league. You know what I mean? What they can do, what they can't do. And you know what I mean? It's kind of like a small community. That's really what it is. And in every community, you need guidelines, you need rules. So there's point systems, there's this, there's that. And it's very important. And C-Dub and I were talking about this earlier, that it's very, very important understanding the point system. Okay.
Mhm.
You don't have to study it down to a T, but you do want to understand it on how you're going to get your points, because this is what could get you more wins than none. So you do want to understand how much a touchdown is outside of football. So we all know that a touchdown inside of football is 6 points. Well, depending on what kind of league you're in, it could be 3 points, 4 points, 6 points, 7 points. It really all depends on who's running the league and what have you. So in a real game, obviously it's always going to be 6 points. In the real reality of NFL, a touchdown is 6. In fantasy, you can make it basically whatever you want. So we're gonna dive into a couple things so you guys have an idea of where to find these things, where to find the point system, so you guys can look that stuff up and understand it just a little bit more, so you know what you're getting yourself into in these leagues.
Yeah, I think for me, what I've kind of naturally seen standard across the board, typically like a rushing or a receiving touchdown is
Mm-hmm.
typically 6 points for fantasy, and then a passing touchdown is typically 4 points. But I also
Okay.
have seen it as 6 points.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll go through the basic summary here of the league that I'm in, right? So the league name is called the league here, right? The number of teams in this one is 12. Okay, we do recommend you guys starting off at an 8 or 10 team league. Okay, and this is scoring type is a head to head. Okay, now head to head means if I could be going against C-Dub. Okay,
Mhm.
so and that's the one thing, I'm going against C-Dub. C-Dub's going against me, and his best players against my best players, and that's what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? We're going to set up our lineups, and and we'll show you what the lineups look like as well, right? But it's going to be him against me, and that's head to head. And then it has point per reception. Now we explained this before. The point per reception is somebody catches the ball, you get a point. Okay, that is what this league, this specific league right here, is a point per reception. So number of teams is 12. The scoring type is head to head, me against somebody else, and points per reception. The other small stuff, the format and all this other stuff, you don't have to worry about that. That's all big league stuff that the manager or the commissioner will do itself. Okay, so we'll go down to the draft settings. Okay, so a draft type. There's a couple different draft types, but this is called snake. Basically, it's exactly what you would think of when you played the game Snake on your old cell phone, okay? It's going to go all the way down to one side and then come back down, and you're going to go all the way back to the other side, meaning 1 through 10, right? You're going to pick your player. One person picks at 1, and then 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Those are draft picks in order. You could get any one of those picks. And instead of it going all the way back down to the person that had the first pick again, after you get to, like, this is a 12-team league, It'll get to 12. Well, the 13th pick goes back to the person at the end, which would be the 12th team that picked. And then it would work its way backwards like a snake. So that's usually what a snake draft is. There are some other ones. C-Dub, you've been through a couple other ones, haven't you?
Yeah, and just kind of clarify. So with the snake one, if you have the first pick in the draft in the first round, you would then have the last pick in the second round. Just kind of keep it a little simpler for you. And then if you have the last pick in the first round, you would have the first pick in the second round. Just to kind of give you a different way to look at it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the draft settings, there's been snake. I've had standard where whatever pick you're at, say you're pick 4, you have the 4th pick in each round throughout the whole draft. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's auction. There's also different ways to get your actual draft position as well. I mean, there's certainly one league that I'm in actually uses the preseason teams. So each person is assigned an NFL team during the preseason, and based on however many points they score, they get put in their slot to draft. So uh, I'm in a bunch of different types of leagues like that. So, but I feel like in terms of a standard league, Snake is always just the easiest way to go. Makes it a little bit more fair across the board for each individual.
Yep, absolutely. And they and as you progress, in certain leagues and stuff like that, you'll be able to do a little bit more with draft picks and a little bit more with this and a little bit that. But this is just the basics. This is the very, the rule settings and everything. So even with that, there is a timer when you're in the draft room, okay, when you're picking your players, right? So this draft obviously is not scheduled yet. It will say a time and a date there on those, okay? When you're in a league. Time per pick is 1 minute and 30 seconds here. So, what, minute 30? No. How much? 90 seconds.
Yep, minute 30.
Yep.
Minute and a half.
So 90 seconds here. Okay. And this is set by the league manager. Okay. So now this one says allow draft pick trading, meaning that you could probably later on down the road, depending on your league, if you wanted to trade future assets, your future draft picks, maybe next year's draft picks for a player that you see and you really like, you know what I mean? But don't worry about that just now. Just we'll concentrate on the simple stuff here. Okay, so the roster size. Okay, let's go to the roster real quick. You can only have in this league 16 people on my roster. Okay, that includes starters and that includes your bench. So you have a starting roster that you will actively put in, and how well they do in these games will determine if you beat your opponent or not. Okay, and then you have your bench, because in the NFL, you do have people who get hurt. You do have people who will be out a week or two, maybe, and you want to make sure that you have backups. You want to make sure that you have people ready to take their spot in case something happens. You always want to make sure. Okay, so you always want to look. I'm from the Northeast. We don't just have one shovel. All right, we got 2 or 3. One's gonna break. You got to go back into the shed and go get another shovel. All right, so we have to make sure that everything is good and rocking and rolling. So we'll go over this really quickly. So you got 16 people on your roster here. You got total starters. We're going to have 9 total starters on here, and we will go over what they are. And then you have total on your bench, which is 7. And then it says 2 IR. So your IR is in case one of your players gets hurt. It doesn't take up a roster spot, and you might be able to go pick somebody else up, but you have to put them in the IR spot in order to do that. Okay, that is very key, because I remember at one point I was wondering why I couldn't pick somebody else up and how do I get this guy on there. It's because I just had to click and make sure they were worthy enough to get on the IR, which usually means it'll have a question mark next to it or an O on it, which means out, which means they're not going to play. And when they're on there, usually you can put them in the IR spot and you can go look for another player that could possibly give you some points.
Yeah, I mean, and not every league is going to have an IR spot.
Right.
So again, just make sure you understand your set league settings and kind of know your roster. Do I have a spot for an injured reserve? Is there a spot for two injured reserves, or is there no injured reserve? So I think that's also a pretty important piece as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, this is why we put you through this league right here that I'm in, so you guys have an idea of each one, different leagues and what they look like. So in this one here, we're going to go through exactly the starters. Now it already says we have 9 total starters. Okay, so we're going to run through this real quick. Okay, the quarterback, we have one starter that is allowed to be in here. Okay, quarterback is the guy that throws the ball. Running back, these are guys that run the ball. Okay, when the quarterback hands it off to a running back, these are the guys that run the ball. We're allowed 2. Okay, now on the other side it says maximum 8. Right? The reason why it says maximum 8 is because you can have as many backups as you want, but you also have to be mindful. If you're going to fill up your roster with all these backups, you're not going to have enough players to fill up the rest of your roster. So remember, you need 1 starting QB, 2 starting running backs, and now you have 2 starting wide receivers, and then you need 1 starting tight end over here, right? Well, if you start filling all the backups up that are maximum, 4 and 4 for a quarterback, right? You can, at the most you can have 4, and then you try to get 8, 8 maximum running backs. Well, then you already got 12 on a roster size that's only 16, so you only have 4 spots left, and that could be, you want to make sure you don't do that. So you want to have some backups, but you don't want to go overboard.
Yeah, I think you really want to have a nice, easy like mix. So make sure you know how many starters are in each role. So obviously your quarterback, that's gonna be your Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen's out there. Your running backs, that'll be your Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, wide receiver, Jamar Chase. You have Justin Jefferson, tight end, George Kittle, Travis Kelsey. And then flex, that can be any one of a running back,
Mm-hmm.
receiver, or another tight end. And then down, if you go scroll a little bit more, you have the total team defense and a kicker. So those are your gotta have it's right there. And just make sure you have a nice little mix with it.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to that flex, it's imperative that you guys understand that there's one called a flex where he said again, you could put your running back, your wide receiver, and your tight end together. You know what I mean? You could put one solid guy in there. That's it. You know what I mean? That's all. You could just put one person in there. There's another one called a super flex in some leagues where you can put a quarterback in there if you feel necessary, or a wide receiver, or a tight end, or a running back. So understanding what kind of league you're in, if it's a flex or a super flex, it definitely helps. And like C-Dub said, you get a team defense, you pick a team defense, and then you have one kicker for an NFL team that gets you points. Okay. So these are in this one. So passing yards in this now this is different from what you guys may see. We're just giving you an outline here of what this league is that we're in. Okay, that's about it. Nothing crazy. This is not going to be what your league is, but here's a perfect example of a touchdown pass. Okay, right there, it's a touchdown pass, 6 points. Okay, a touchdown rush for somebody who runs the ball in the end zone, that's also 6. Okay, so there's a couple different ways of doing things. Okay, say if a quarterback gets sacked, he's going to have minus a half a point. Remember when you can get those half a points by catching a ball? Well, the quarterback can lose a half a point just in this league by getting sacked. Okay, so and there's that each reception right there. 1 point. So every time somebody catches it, 1 point. Now, if you catch it in the end zone, that will be 7 points because you're catching the ball and you're getting the touchdown. So the touchdown is 6 points right there, including the extra point right there for actually catching the ball. So you got the 1 point for catching, the 6 points for the touchdown, and you got 7 points there. Now, that doesn't include any yardage either. It could have been 20 yards, it could have been 30 yards, and depending on your point system and how many points they give you per yards or per, whatever it is, it'll be additional points added on. Anything to add there, Dub? It's a lot to take in,
Yeah, no, it's a lot, but if you're also looking at it from this point, so check passing yards, for example, it's 0.04
Mhm.
For a point, right?
Yeah.
So that means for every 1 passing yard is 0.04 points. So the way I look at it is, so every 25 passing yards is a point,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So, and there's also some little bonuses you can see within your scoring system. So 400-yard plus passing game, you get an extra 3 points. Over here on the
Yep.
rushing side, you get an extra 2 points for 50+ yards touchdown run. Anywhere from 100 to 199 rushing yard game, you get an extra point, and then 200+ yard rushing game, you get 6 points. So when I'm going through my roster, I'm keeping those little notes in the back of my mind. Okay, I need to look for somebody within the first round or so that can get 200 rushing yards, because
Yes.
that could add an additional 6 points. So understanding your rule system and your scoring system is very important because it
Yes.
could alter how you draft.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With that being said, it is a lot of numbers. We do want to bring you guys onto what the roster looks like. Okay, so this is what, when you guys go in, this is what you're going to see. Right, so this is us. This is Top Dog coverage. Okay, this is what it is going to look like when you don't have a draft yet. Okay, nothing's filled up here. Okay, here's your QB, here's your running back, your wide receiver, your tight end, your flex, your D/ST, which is your defense, and your special teams. Okay, so you pick one team that you believe defense and special teams are going to give you some points, and then a kicker, right? So this is last year's team. Okay, we didn't draft yet, but we also get to see who we had last year. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to put these together. So these are all the guys that we drafted. Don't worry about whatever it is, okay? But like how confusing it looks. Okay, there's your 2 IR spots down here when somebody gets hurt, right? So if I wanted to, I could probably move this guy. You see how it only has these 3 spots, right? In a wide receiver spot here, a wide receiver spot here, and then a flex spot down here. Okay, the reasoning why is because this player is a wide receiver for the Houston Texans. Okay, it will only allow me to put them inside of a wide receiver slot or a flex slot because that's the only position that he plays. Okay, so you'll start to get the hang of it, of what you can do and how you can do it, right? So if we started with the quarterback, let's look down the list here and see what quarterbacks we have. We got, okay, if I have Geno Smith here in the Las Vegas Raiders, I can only put him in the quarterback spot, right? So let's put him there. Let's click here, and there he is. Now he's put right in there. It gives you the opponent he's facing, that the next time they're playing, the time, and what they project his point system to be, how good or bad they believe him to be for that game. Okay. And that takes him from the bench, and that puts him right into this starting spot. This is your starting spot right here. Now we can go. Now we got to find a running back, right? So find a running back. We'll take him, Jahmyr Gibbs from Detroit. Now you notice that it gives us 3 spots to put him in. Gives us a running back spot, and again a flex spot. Why? Because the flex spot allows you to put a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end in there. So that's why it gives you that option. Okay, so we're going to put him right in the running back spot. Okay, and so on and so forth. C-Dub, anything so far?
No, I mean it looks good. We
Okay.
make sure we fill out the roster, so then
Yep.
obviously we'd find another running back to put behind
Yep.
Gibbs.
Yeah. So let's see who we had in the running back spot. Let's go Javonte Williams here. And again, they give us 2 spots now because one of the other running back spots is already taken up. So we put him in there, right in that running back spot there. Okay, so slowly but surely you start to fill up your roster spot here. Okay, now you're looking for a wide receiver spot. Okay, so we'll look at the top of the list here. We got Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. He's a wide receiver on the Tampa Bay Bucks. And they give us 3 spots to put him in: a wide receiver spot, a wide receiver spot, and a flex spot. Okay, we're going to put him right here in the wide receiver spot. And again, we have another wide receiver spot to fill out. Now I can click on here, right? And there's Tank Dell from Houston. But you see that little O next to his name? That means that he's out. He's out with an injury. Okay, he's going to be out. C-Dub, he's out all this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he had a major injury last year, right? So obviously you don't want to put somebody that has an O inside of your lineup. So you kind of want to stay away from him. So we're going to click back on to move so we can go to another guy. So we're going to go Tyreek Hill. Now, even though he has a Q next to his name, we're going to click on this little thing right here. It says news about Tyreek Hill, right? And it'll give you what's going on. Okay, it says questionable. Probably because he got in, he has I'm trying to see what it says here.
What also gives you his estimated return as well.
There you go.
If
Okay,
you
so
scroll back up.
yep.
Underneath his name, it says estimated return 8/16/2025. Right next to the questionable tag.
Oh, there we go, right there. Yep. And it even tells you, if you scroll down a little bit and you look into some of the stuff, the recent news, it says based on pregame warmups, Hill, his oblique is not in line to play Sunday's preseason opener. Now, this is just preseason; it's not a big deal, okay? But if we're just going to put him in for sake, saying that he is going to play, okay? So we know that he's going to be back in time for season opener, and everything is fine, right? So we'll put him in there, okay? Now we need a tight end. Now, if you look at our lineup here, we only have 1 tight end, right? So if we try to put this wide receiver around, well, he's not going to be in that tight end spot, okay? We have Trey McBride here. He is allowed to be put in the tight end spot and the flex spot, so 2 spots. And we can put him right here, right in the tight end spot. And slowly but surely, now we are getting rocking and rolling. Now, this is where you can actually look at a couple different players. So we know that Tank Dell here is hurt. He's out. We already know that. Well, we already know that looking down at Jameis Winston, he's a quarterback. He cannot be put in this flex spot because it is not a super flex. It is just a flex, okay? So if I click on his name, it will not allow me to put in that flex spot right there. What it will allow me to do is exchange the spot with the quarterback we have already put in there, Geno Smith. So we can click there, and all of a sudden, Jameis Winston is in that spot. But what we really want, we want the starter in there, right? So we have Geno Smith is our starter, and we're going to keep him in there. But if at any point you realize you don't want your one quarterback to play, all you have to do is click on that his name and put move, and it'll put you right into the spots that he could be put into, okay? And if you want to change your starting quarterback, your starting running back, your starting wide receivers, you want to swap them out with other wide receivers and running backs, that's how you do that. You want to make sure that you have options. So we're going to go, we can't put a defense in the flex spot either. We can't put this hurt guy in there. You can, but you're not really going to get any points. You can't put a quarterback in the flex spot, but you can put this guy, Xavier Legette. It's going to, again, you can put him in this wide receiver spot here with Mike Evans if you feel that he would do better, or you can put him in the Tyreek Hill spot if you think that he would do better there. Now, that is something that, you're going to have to, I guess, go over and see which players are better. You know what I mean? But you'll get the hang of it as time goes by. So, what do you think with this flex spot? Do you want to run it back, C-Dub? Do you want a wide receiver? What are you thinking here?
So you want to go with best matchup, and
Mm-hmm.
I think with it being the Carolina Panthers against Jacksonville, I do
Mm-hmm.
think they're going to have to throw a lot. So I believe Leggett will get a lot of opportunities.
Okay.
I think he's going to be in a better position than the other players we have on the roster.
There you
So
go.
yeah, let's go in and put him in the flex spot there.
All right. And we'll put him in there right here in the flex. And then also we'll go through a couple things here. Leggett is part of a team that, look, they're up and coming, and he is on the starting squad there. He's not a backup. He's a legit starter on that team. If you look at some of these other guys, Ray McLeod, I think he's a backup in Atlanta. Or
Yeah,
he
he's
might.
their slot receiver.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Sincere McCormick, he is a backup on Las Vegas. Trey Benson, he's a backup on Arizona. So it's like these guys are they're backups, and you kind of want that starter role. You know what I mean, to make sure that they go into those, and it's a good matchup too. So it's that's the kind of things that C-Dub is telling you to make sure you look at the matchups and see what works and what doesn't. All right, let's go to defense and special teams. So we have, what are we thinking? Bucks and we have the Lions at Green Bay, or we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Atlanta.
Both matchups aren't really that great,
Yeah,
in my opinion. I guess let's go with the later matchup. Let's go Lions at Green Bay.
Lions at Green Bay. Okay, and if you guys are ever stumped at something, if you look right over here, it gives you a little projection of what the computer believes that the projection of points that you can get out of it. It's not always accurate, but it gives you a little bit of an idea. 7.3 with the Bucks going to Atlanta, or 7.6 with the Lions going to Green Bay. Okay, so we're going to go with you said the Lions?
Yep.
All right, we'll put the Lions right there in that defensive spot. All right, and then we only have, I believe, one kicker in here, so he only gives it one space to go. So we're going to take our Miami kicker, Jason Sanders, who's actually a pretty good kicker, by the way, and we'll put him right in there. And there you have your starting lineup. That is your starting lineup, okay?
Ready to rock.
And you're ready to rock and roll, okay? So with all of those, all these projections, they give you a total right here that says 114 points that they believe they're going to give you, okay? And just for that week. And it tells you all the game times and everything. So that is one thing that you want to hone in on. You want to make sure that you always take out anybody who's hurt, okay? But we want you guys to have fun with this as well. C-Dub, how we doing?
Good. I mean, I think that pretty much covers it in terms of setting your lineup in an ESPN league.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I didn't know how far and how in depth we wanted to go here. Trying to find a quick draft, but I think we might have to. We can come back and do maybe a first time draft or something like that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
But in case you guys were wondering, that is basically fantasy 101 for you guys. If you guys want to join it, have some fun with it. It's a lot, but at any given point, come back to this video and just look at it again. Have some fun with it. There's nothing wrong with understanding and trying to here we go. And trying to understand fantasy football, for the first time. We've all done it. We've all been through it. So we wanted you guys to have a basic, system and outline on how to understand your fantasy football, maybe for the first year that you guys are trying it.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, post draft or setting your lineups, or hey, here's my league settings. Can you guys kind of give me an idea of how I should go about my draft? Feel free to email us topdogcoverage@gmail.com.
Yep. TOPDAWGCOVERAGE@gmail.com. But I think that's all we got for today. We hope you guys are locked and loaded, ready for the fantasy football realm, ready to explore the new realm of fantasy football points and fantasy football endorphins, okay? Because it feels good when your player gets a touchdown. Is that not right?
It feels great, especially when you set these lineups and you guys are going off. It feels awesome.
Yeah. So speaking of awesome, you guys are awesome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, swipe up, hit 5 stars. Let us know what it is that you guys want to hear next. But until then, we will see you on the other side. Peace.